Well, today I've come out to the Jefferson National Forest, about 30 miles from where I live in Virginia, and I've been wanting to bring the XP out here and ride some of these mountain roads. Not really trails, but these are logging roads, fire roads, things like that. So mainly gravel, and just get out. And today I'm going to do a little loop up here that I haven't done on the bike. I've camped up in this area before many years ago. But I'm interested to get out and see nature today. It's the beginning of October. The leaves are starting to turn, and I'm looking forward to a beautiful afternoon ride. And I did purchase some pepper spray, especially for this ride. Not so much for people, and not even really for bears or anything like that, although they're out here. But sometimes you maybe have some wild dogs out here, and need something to protect myself, but I don't anticipate that I need to use it. But if I do, I have it right here mounted at the bottom of the handlebar stem. Should be easy to get to. Yeah, I remember when I was in college, sometimes I would come out here, and you're allowed to pitch a tent through here. There are a couple of nice spots by a little creek, but I haven't been back in here for quite a while. I have actually seen a bear in this area years ago, probably about 15 years ago, and I was on a bicycle then as well, and I came around a corner and there was a bear, a black bear, standing in the road, and we just kind of looked at each other for about 20 seconds. It seemed longer at the time, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to outrun him even on my bicycle, so we just looked at each other, and then the bear went on down the hill toward the creek. And I thought it was pretty cool to have seen a bear. And I have seen a rattlesnake out here before. It seems like PAS2 is the way to go for me on the gravel. PAS3 is a little bit fast, and as you can probably tell from the camera shaking, it is a little bit bumpy out here too. So I've got it on PAS2 and I'm in third gear. And that seems to be a pretty decent combination for this surface. I'm not trying to set any speed records, I'm just out to enjoy a beautiful afternoon. Well, there's a little shelter here for hikers, and I want to tell you a quick story that happened around 30 years ago or so. A friend of mine and I and his girlfriend decided to come camping. It's kind of a last minute thing, and we came up here and decided to stay in this shelter. And the first thing was we brought our canned food, and we realized we did not have a can opener, and it's hard to open a can. I don't think we got any of the cans open, so we went to bed hungry. And then we started looking at some of the graffiti in here that we hadn't noticed. And at that time, not sure if it's still here, but at that time there was some Hell's Angels graffiti and stuff like that. And so we pretty much stayed awake all night listening for motorcycles, because we thought, here we are out in the middle of nowhere, and this is the party spot of Hell's Angels on a Saturday night. So we didn't sleep very well, not to mention that it was cold, and we were not prepared. I don't think we had sleeping blankets and all that. It was just a terrible trip. The next morning we got up and we were freezing and had no food. Or we did have food, but like I said, we couldn't open it. So we basically ended up going to town, the nearest little town from here, to a restaurant, but then we realized we didn't have any money. And the owner of the restaurant felt so sorry for us that she gave us our breakfast for free. It was very nice. I'll always remember that. She was very kind. Alright, this is probably one of the steeper hills on this ride. So let's see what happens going up the gravel on a steep hill. Still in PAS2. That's doing just fine. Well, this would not be a good place for a flat tire. Usually I ride around in my city, and I always figure if I have a flat tire I can call somebody. But out here I don't have cell phone service, and I'm not sure somebody could find me even if I did. And I sure would not want to have to carry this bike up some of these hills. Back when I was in college, I remember taking a map and a compass and a blanket and beanie weenies in a backpack, and I took about a week to come out and navigate through the forest here, and I was lost for about a day at one point, and but I finally made it back, and it was a good time. And that's really the first time I actually discovered this area and kind of learned about it and how beautiful it is. And I don't get a chance to come down here much anymore. I do think it would be fun to do a little camping trip on the bike. And I do have a camping hammock. It's like a tent basically that hangs from the trees. And that would be easy to put in my saddlebag. And I think it would be fun to just come up with just very minimal supplies, and camp for a night and ride out the next day. Maybe that'll put that on my bucket list. Uh-oh. Got a gate up here. Wonder what this says. Road closed to public motor vehicle use. Well, I don't think that's me. So I'm going to pretend that it isn't, and I'm going to go on through. Of course, I don't know what the roads are like. Let's give it a shot. I'm still in PAS2, but I did shift down to first gear, and I do notice that this terrain is definitely eating up my battery faster. I've only gone now 2.5 miles, and I've already lost some bars on my battery, and usually it would take probably about 10 miles on pavement for that to happen. And now my energy bar's back up. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Yeah, some of these drop-offs are pretty much like cliffs around here. Okay, I've come to the, I believe, the end of the restricted zone. I gotta get around this barrier without letting my bike slide off the edge. All right. This is North Creek. popular destination for trout fishermen, especially fly fishermen. It's just so much fun to be able to get out on this bike and explore. I've had a regular bike, a non-electric bike up in here years ago, but definitely can't cover the ground I can cover on this, and this is much easier. And at one point I thought maybe I could get a little dirt bike or something, but that's not actually legal to come riding up through here on like a dirt bike. And at one point I had actually a Honda 600 cruiser motorcycle, but it's not the kind of thing you want to take in the gravel. So this XP has been just perfect for this. I see some kind of an animal up here. I'm not sure what it is. Looked like a cat. But I'm not sure. Hopefully not a bobcat. Whatever it was, it took off. It seemed to be afraid. Whatever that animal was, and it looked like a cat. I've never seen a bobcat up here, but I know they are here. But it definitely wasn't like a groundhog or a beaver. It had more size and it was a lighter color. Well, there's a neat little campground here, North Creek Campground. It's very primitive. There's no electricity. You have to pump your water, or at least used to. And interestingly right now, as you can see from the sign, it is closed because of COVID-19, which is interesting to me because it seems to me that people need to be outside where there is ventilation, and also for their mental health. They need to be out in nature. So why close down these National Forest campgrounds? It's a great place to be. And the sites are spread out far enough that there will not be people on top of each other. And families can come out here and get back to nature. Well, I appreciate you riding along. It's been a great ride. And if you enjoyed the ride and want to see more and haven't done so already, please subscribe.